Guys, just last week Sunday, when I was just randomly thinking, and then I realized that I have done 1 year in this marriage thing, I was just like, oh, more times 1 million, because it feels so unreal. 1 year, 365 days. Like, where is time flying to? Well, I wasn't really surprised after all when I was weighing it in my head, because at the end of the day, it's marriage. It's not death sentence. I mean, it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to still live life, be happy. And I'm grateful that I'm one of those persons who can share that kind of testimony after 1 year. Nothing broken, nothing spoiled. I'm as, normal, happy as I'm supposed to be. And I'm just basically really grateful. And yes, 1 year. So I think that after 1 year, it's time for me to start dishing all those. I don't for this marriage. So it's time for me to start dishing out content. I'll be advising you newbies. I'm joking, guys. But really, really, this is my first content in marriage, talking about marriage. In this particular video, I'll be sharing with you some of the things you must bear in mind while you're planning your wedding. So let's quickly get into the conversation. Let's go. Welcome back, guys, to my YouTube channel. My name is Muyosoroluwa Elesho Otefia. I think that's the first time I'll be saying that on this channel in full, because my channel name is Elesho Muyosoroluwa, but of course my marital name is Otefia. Welcome to my channel. In case you're just dropping by this YouTube channel for the first time, you're pretty much welcome. Tapping this video means that you're probably about to say I do, or you're looking forward to that in a few years and you want to learn one or two things. This is that video for you. I am a YouTuber who would bring you content around lifestyle, everything in my head, around my world, and of course reviews, movie reviews, which forms a huge part of the content you watch on this channel. So guys, let's quickly get to the story for the day. I'm actually going to be preparing for a premiere very shortly. It's a premiere of the movie. It's the premiere of the movie The Woman King, and that's why I have this hairdo, because I'm supposed to be repping or stepping out as an Afro warrior. Of course, yeah, I just had to do the back to school kind of, or back in the day kind of hairstyle, channeling my inner Viola Davis, because I love her so much. Okay, this is not about movies, so let me get to this topic for today. But basically, I'm just going to quickly rush over some of the things I want to say, because I need to clean this makeup and do a fresh one. I think I even want to shower before I step out for this event. This is the makeup I wore to church today. This is the look I had to church today. I'll probably insert a picture. And yeah, I'm just quickly going to drop my thought for those who are looking forward to their big day before I start preparing for my movie premiere happening in a couple of hours. So yes, let's quickly get to the conversation, guys. This is basically me just telling you story, and sharing my experience and telling you some of the things that happened while I was planning my big day, hoping that you can take one or two tips from this particular story, and experience, and then maybe afterwards, later on, we'll start talking some couple conversation on the channel. I mean, like I said, I'm old now. This is like I'll be giving people tips. Okay, so let's quickly get to it. I know that one of the things that happened before you can even start planning a big day is that you already have a partner. You probably have even had your proposal, you've been proposed to, you've said yes, I'll marry you, and then you're now planning your wedding. Of course, the proposal, you're not supposed to, as a female, you're not supposed to have a hang on of it, depending on who you're with and what you're planning. When I say hang of it, I'm saying how it's planned. Okay, of course, as female, we always sense it. We always know that something is about to happen, no matter how we pretend. I don't want to believe that there's anyone in this world who did not at least know that this man is up to something. You might not be sure what he's up to or how he's going to do what he's up to, but I mean, you just really know that he's up to something. So yes, you're definitely not going to be part of your proposal. You're not going to have the opportunity to plan your own proposal. Well, I know that some people do it, but hey, you're not supposed to be part of that process. But for your wedding, that's where the journey begins. That's where everything feels like, okay, so how am I going to go about it? What am I going to do? Who am I going to trust with the process? There are so many questions that come with you planning your wedding. Of course, after your proposal, if you are from my side, my tribe, there's something we call introduction, where the family get to meet each other. There's a lot of planning that goes into that as well. But because it's a family business, a family thing, it's more of your parents planning how they are going to receive your in-law. And at that point, what you might want to really worry about is maybe the few friends you want to be around, because introduction is supposed to be more of it's a simple occasion. It's not supposed to be so big, although some people have theirs big. Mine was a little big, right? Because it was outdoor, yeah. So it's supposed to be like enclosed family situation and all that. But I mean, if you're going to have anything to do with your introduction ceremony, where both families get to meet before they start picking the date for the wedding, that shouldn't stress you so much. To be honest, it shouldn't stress you so much. So your parents are going to handle the food because they're the one welcoming their in-law. The few guests you're going to bring, maybe the decor if it's outdoor and you want something for your good pictures, cake. Some people do introduction cake. I had introduction cake for mine, and then your outfit. So I think that of all the things that you're going to be doing during your introduction ceremony, your outfit for yourself and your husband to be is about the most important thing. How you guys look on that day is most part of your business, because parents would most likely handle the other part of it. You might want to drop money for that process, but it's not really going to be any of your business. They will tell the other family what they should bring along, and that's just it. So it's a simple affair, and you don't really need to stress much if that's also part of the process before you walk down the aisle. But again, this video is about walking down the aisle itself. How do you plan all of that? I had mine introduction in the month of March. That's 2021, and then we fixed our wedding date for September. So that means that I had barely April, May, June, July, August, for the planning. That's barely 5 months for the planning of the wedding proper. And because the wedding was second week in September, that's September 10 and 11, today being 11th, which is our first year anniversary. And of course, I was anxious. I had a lot of thoughts in my head. How am I going to do this? Because from January to March, I was using it to plan the introduction. I was fully involved because I'm a perfectionist. I want to know what's going down. How is it going to be? I took care of the what's it called, decoration, all those preferity. My friends even surprised me with ashrebi. They picked this very sweet purple, what's it called now, Kante. I don't know if that's what, I can't remember what that thing is called now, but they all look gorgeous, as you can see in this particular picture. So yeah, I was fully involved. So January to March, I had that, at the top of my mind, and that was like March 20th or thereabout. So it was after March that I now started wedding planning proper. And how did I start? Of course, I started with writing out a list of what should be part of my wedding process. And the list started with, first, myself. What do I want to look like? My husband to be, what do I want him to look like, or what does he want to look like? That's about the first thing I thought about, me, myself. And this is the mistake that a lot of people make for their wedding. They forget themselves. They're so concerned about other people. You're not thinking about yourself. To be honest, it's your day, no matter how you want to look at it. Of course, you're bringing people together. Of course, people are celebrating with you, but it's your day. It's your celebration. So you should think about yourself first. Because if you don't look good, if you're not happy, people would go. they will go back to their houses, and you're left with your memory, you're left with, the flashes of everything that happened that day. So you should always think about yourself first and prioritize yourself in the process of the planning. So yes, that was where I started my planning and preparation from myself. What do I want for myself? How do I want it to look like? Who do I want to be around me? It's still centered around me and my husband to be. So I started the process basically from all the things I've imagined from years back, all the things I've told myself I wanted my wedding to be like. Okay, now start coming back to my brain, from the looks to the arrangement for the day to the people I want to be there. That was how I started the process. So of course I started, I think that apart from the fact that I knew I didn't want so many people at the wedding, I know that I have people all around me. I've met people from different phases of my life. So I was trying to be careful not to end up having too many people or burden ourselves with catering for too many people. I knew that as far back as 2017, yeah, when my sister got married, we had over 600. We prepared for 600 guests. We ended up having over 600 guests. So you can imagine catering for 600 people in 2017. And now we understand what the world is like in 2021. And the fact that I even know more people than my sister. And that's even away from my husband, who also knows a lot of people. Our parents are people's people. It was a lot of thinking and a lot of strategizing in knowing, okay, how do we cut down this number? How many people do I really want to be around me? So those were the two paramount things on my mind as at that time. First, how I wanted to look, how my husband wanted to look, as well as the number, because that was what was going to help us to now start planning what we wanted to do. So yes, from my outfit, of course I had a setback with my stylist, because the person I thought was going to style me left the country, so I had to more like begin again. As that, I think I started my styling planning from April, but in March I realized, in May I realized she was leaving, so I started all over again in May with another stylist. And this is a perk of starting your clothing choice on time, because you'll be able to foresee any situation that comes in between, like mine, which was the switch in stylist at that particular time. So I still had about 3 months, and that was a long time enough, and that was enough time for me to quickly, strategize with the new person and pour out my plans and my thoughts to the new person. So yes, that was something that I did early, or started early, that helped me as well when it comes to planning the wedding. Number one, let's start with what I wanted to look like. I knew the colors that I wanted to feature for my big day, from the pre-wedding to the traditional wedding and the wedding proper. I sort of have an idea of how I wanted each look to be. For my pre-wedding, I wanted to have a traditional look, definitely not Yoruba, because I was going to wear ashoke for my wedding. I wanted to go my husband's route, so I did a bit of the Isoko bride look for the wedding, and then the usual formal or corporate wear. So we had two looks for our pre-wedding shoot, and then as at May, when I started making outfits for my pre-wedding, I already knew the day we're going to have the pre-wedding. So we started pre-wedding outfits, making my pre-wedding outfits in May, and then in June 20th, thereabouts, if I'm not wrong, 20th to 21st, I had my pre-wedding shoot. And of course, it's not because I'm this much of a detailed person. I mean, some people might start saying, so you had the pre-wedding in June when your wedding is September. Yes, I did that because I also had a lot of things going on with me at the time. I had my final exam in law, which was my second degree, coming up in July. So I didn't want to burden myself or choke myself too much. I wouldn't want to go through the stress of writing law exam in July and doing my pre-wedding in August, because my exam was going to run into middle of July. And then I had to do clearance, I had to do a lot of things. I was still writing my project. So I didn't want to do all of that in June, preparation for the exam, because the exam actually started in June and ended in July. And then I was going to do my project throughout July. So I didn't want to use June and July for school stress and then start using August for my pre-wedding. So I did my pre-wedding shoot earlier in June. We started making the outfits in May. So it just really helped me. And I think that made me realize that starting early is something that a lot of people shouldn't joke with. If you want to be comfortable when you finally get close to your big day, then you need to start your planning early. So yes, that's something that I did, and we had our pre-wedding shoot. While I was planning the pre-wedding look, where I was also planning for my guests. So at this time, I had figured out the color I wanted. I think as at April or May, I'd even figured out the color I wanted for the day. That was teal and gold. I knew what I wanted my Ashwebi to look like, even though at the initial stage I didn't want Ashwebi at all. But eventually I thought about it, and my friends were willing. So I kind of asked people randomly for a budget they would be able to work with for Ashwebi. And then I found someone who was going to help me source my Ashwebi. If you've watched a video on my channel, which I might link to this video, where I talked about how I sourced my Ashwebi, I mean, I did mention the fact that one of the things I didn't want to do was to do that Lagos dress. I wasn't going to do it. As a matter of fact, I do not think that I stepped into that Lagos market for once throughout my wedding planning. Yes, that's because I knew what I wanted. I knew that I could get vendor who would do that struggle for me without me. I didn't even have that time. I was still working. I was preparing for my law exams, and then I had events I was hosting. I was everywhere. And then imagine now putting that burden of going to go and source Ashwebi in a co-market. That was not something I wanted to do. So at the time, I decided on the budget for my friends that my friends are willing to work with, and then I started looking for the cloth that I feel would suit the color that we already had in mind, which is gold and teal. And I found a vendor who sourced fabric, and as a matter of fact, I did not meet her. I had not met her for once until she started delivering my Ashwebi packages. I also knew how I wanted the Ashwebi to be packaged. I wanted a box with everybody's name on it. I wanted to give them their gift already in the Ashwebi package. So for the female, I think I already had the hair straightener, and for the male, I think they had a customized mug or something. So yes, it was like that. I just really knew what I wanted, and then the lady, I just contracted her, told her my budget for the Ashwebi, and then we just started working around it. She would send me different pictures of fabric. I'm like, no, I don't want this one. I don't want this one. And I finally found the one I could work with. As a matter of fact, she sourced it from China, so she had to ship those fabric in from China. And then because I started early again, we had time enough for the importation and all that stuff, and then the packaging, the customization. I mean, everything was just in sync. Everything was just perfect. The ashoke for the agele, everything came in at the same time. And then I made people also pay early because I didn't want to be going back and forth. I knew when I wanted to stop. And I think that we ended up selling, I'm sure we sold over 100 pieces of that Ashwebi, something I didn't want to do at all. I can't remember the number now, but it was definitely over 100 pieces. And my money was not inside. I just, as the money was coming in, I was transferring to the lady. She did everything, sourced everything, sent me samples, and it was fantastic. People loved it. I literally saw people boom for, I saw people bloom for joy when they received their packages, because it was befitting. They felt like they were honored to be at my wedding. And because we had very limited number of guests that I wanted to be at the wedding, we already have invitation card, because it was strictly by invitation. So we had invitation cards in the Ashwebi box sent to them or delivered to them. So yeah, that just kind of eased things for me. I did not go to Eco Market to start going, this one will pay today, I now have to go next week to go to Eco Market, this one will pay, I go. No, I did not do that stress at all, at all. It was delivered to my house, and then that was it. I delivered the Ashwebi to everyone, one after the other, based on the address sent to me. So yeah, that really eased the process for me, really very much is the process for me, and I had little to worry about when it comes to Ashwebi. So I think that's something that a lot of people might want to try out instead of stressing yourself. I know that some people want to go do the Ashwebi runs themselves, because I hear that people make money out of it. I didn't care. I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to stress myself for how much. So I just sourced it. I sourced the Ashwebi thing to someone who was doing that, and my life was easy. that was it. So if you want to do that or try that out, I can also help you with the link of the person who helped me who helped me with my Ashwebi, because she was fantastic. So that was how I sorted Ashwebi. So while this was going on, like I said, pre-wedding plan was going on in between, testing of outfits, and then the real pre-wedding day proper. We had that pre-wedding shoot, even though rain fell that day like mad, but it was still fantastic. Our pre-wedding was amazing. We looked great. It left me really hyped for the big day. And of course, that's it. In the process, while we're fixing the Ashwebi, we also have conversation with our parents about the guests, about the event hall, about the food, and how they also wanted to look. For the event hall, because of where I stay, we knew, of course, the wedding is going to be at the bride's side. So we had to find the event hall of our choice. I already had an idea of the event center we wanted to use, so we just went there. I think also in May they're about to book the event hall, and it was really good, and we were able to get some discount. We made half payment and then left the rest for later on when the wedding was closed. So yes, we also did that early enough. Of course, in Lagos, if you're getting married in Lagos, you have several choices when it comes to event center, and I think that that's not something that's not a decision anyone can make for you. You have to make it for yourself alongside your family members, of course, so that you guys will know what works for you and what works for your guests that are coming for the event. So we're able to sort event center early as well. Back to the conversation of the wedding proper. Another thing you need to know if you're getting married is the process of the solemnization. I mean, there are so many processes for solemnization these days. For someone like me, I attend the Redeemed Christian Church of God, which is my parents' home church as well. And there are processes, there are things that we ought to do. The marriage counseling is part of it, which is actually a very important part of the process. And I think that there is no couple should miss marriage counseling, because trust me, these are some of the simple things that would count when you guys are on the journey. Not because everything they are going to say will work for you, but that's those moment of bonding together and learning from someone also has its psychological effect on the journey as well. So we started our marriage counseling along the way, even though it was frustrating, but again, that's story for another day. We started our marriage counseling. We had to go to my parents' home church every other Sunday for the marriage counseling, and then we also got the processes for solemnization. The fact that we cannot get married in court. That's the old Ikoyi thing that people used to do. We can't get married there because Redeem has affiliation with them already. So when we are joined in church, we are also receiving a marriage certificate from Ikoyi, through the Redeemed Christian Church of God, that kind of thing. I don't know if you understand. So getting married in Ikoyi would mean that we're already married, and Redeemed does not need to join us anymore. So because we wanted to be joined in church, all we needed to do was just to go register in Ikoyi, get our Form C. The Form C was sent to church, and then that was it. We just went to Ikoyi, I think 2 times or 3 times. First time for registration, second time for counseling, yes, because they will also ask you to come for counseling, whether you're getting joined in Ikoyi or not. There's a particular day where you guys must or will go for counseling. It's a day I think it was a day in August. It's about a few weeks to your wedding. That's when they ask you to come for counseling. And then another few weeks, and then a few days, right, to your wedding, or thereabout, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks to your wedding, you will get the form needed in church for your joining. So I think we went about 3 times in all to Ikoyi, and that was about it. We didn't get joined in Ikoyi like a lot of people would go to Ikoyi and take picture. We didn't do that because the certificate was given to us in church. Okay, yeah. So you need to understand the process of the solemnization depending on where you want to get married. If you want to get married in church, however, some churches will still allow for you to get joined in Ikoyi, and then you still come to church for the blessing. So if you get joined in the registry, what you come to do in church is just the blessing and not the joining. They won't join you in church. You just have what they call the blessing, and then they will give you your certificate back and all of that. So that was basically that's basically it. Just the fact that you need to understand that process and which one worked for you in line with where you are getting joined. Okay, so that's what we did before we finally got to the D-Day for the joining, in line with legal processes. Away from that, let's get to the issue of food. I've talked about event center. Well, for food, our parents, of course, had their own thing. I mean, they in Yoruba land they say that the wedding is for the parents, and to some extent, is actually true. So for food, we allowed our parents to be in the forefront of that. They were in charge of the caterer, the caterer they wanted to use, where they were going to cook, blah blah blah. So all we just needed to do as a family is just to put in finances together where necessary. But we had to focus on some other things. So we took care of smart chops, for instance. We took care of some basic things that our friends would use as refreshment during the after party, and some of the things that we had in the course of the event. So we didn't exactly bother, about the food in its entirety, because our parents were at the forefront of that. Typical Yoruba parent on my own side, and of course his own parents who had plans in line with their own native food. So that's how we went about food, drinks, and all of that. And the vendors that we brought on board for small shops and some other things that our friends had, aside food, we also just did follow up on that one, in line with the day. For my wedding outlook, for my wedding look, I already told you about the pre-wedding look. For my wedding look, I think one of the decision I made early enough is the fact that I wasn't going to sew a dress. Okay, I didn't want any stylist to break my heart. I didn't want to go through that kind of pain. The only thing I wanted to do for my wedding look proper was just my traditional outfit, as my traditional marriage outfit, as well as my reception outfit. But for my wedding dress, I knew what I wanted to look like. And I know that these days people really do not buy wedding dresses. It's either they make or rent. So I went the renting of dress route. And it was pretty much easy. I mean, I just knew who I wanted to get my dress from. And I checked them out on Instagram, La Caris or La Charis. I don't know what the pronunciation is. I visited them, went through the process of choosing a wedding dress. I think I also have a video on that somewhere on my channel. So all I did was just to test different dresses. Again, if your church or where you're getting joined will determine what your dress look like. But again, I chose a dress that could fit into the rules by the church. Although it was later on, I got to know that they felt like some part of my top sleeve was exposing, and then I had to make an inner minute. That was also a frustrating part of the process, but again, I had to do it. So I wore the inner while I was in church, and then I threw it out after church. During my early morning picture time, I did not use it. I took my pictures without it, quickly wore it, went to church, and then removed the inner. So that was how we're able to beat that particular challenge, or navigate through that particular challenge. So yes, I wanted to rent a dress, went to the store, did some checks, picked my dress, paid the fee, and then just waited for the dress to be delivered, I think 2 days before the wedding. That was basically how I went about my wedding dress. The other accessories, I just found vendors, told them what I wanted, and they were also delivered to me. So girls, when I say I did not do that eco stress, I did not do that eco stress. All my purses, my shoes, everything was sourced for me and delivered to me. And then I bought them early enough as well. So as I had money, I just kept buying. As I had money, I just kept buying. For my husband also, he had his own stylist. So I was just following up on the process, and the things they were putting together for him. And then everything just really gelled, because we had talked about the colors, the blend, the shoes, the accessories. So we just kept buying, and then that was basically it. So as at my hair, of course, I sorted my hair myself alongside my hairstylist, Mondela's Place. I got my hair from Niger Hair. Yeah, I think on the island, got the hair, installed it firsthand, not for the bridal look anyway. I just did a mini installation to see what it looks like, and then I had my hairstylist. So now let's get to some of the things that can cause a bride to cry, for our wedding day. And these are the things that happen on that particular day, starting with your vendors coming late. Maybe your makeup artist is coming late, or your hairstylist is coming late, or the person tying your gele is coming late. I mean, I had already factored some of these things. So what I did was I ensured that all the vendors that I was going to use for my personal self, came for that wedding at least a day before. But most of the people I used were even around my vicinity. So you cannot tell me traffic is holding you somewhere. I think the only person that I had to bring from outside my area, because Ikorodu was where we had the wedding. So the only person that came out from outside Ikorodu was the gele for my traditional wedding. My hairstylist for the wedding proper, because we had 2 days. Traditional wedding was the day before, and the main wedding was on Saturday. So every other person I needed for that Saturday were with me in the same vicinity. That's the day. In fact, I made sure that the hairstylist slept in the hotel with me. She didn't plan it, but I just wanted everybody to be around me because I didn't want to start calling people in the morning. Please, where are you? Blah blah blah. No, I didn't want that. So everyone was actually around me. Now, another thing that I just remembered is bridesmaid. You people have choices. You either use bridesmaid or you don't. But the moment you decide to make use of bridesmaid, then you should be sure that you're in for another, side part of stress when it comes to wedding planning. And what do I mean? When it comes to bridesmaid, your choice of bridesmaid actually matter a lot. Matter in the sense that the people you decide to use, guys, it's raining. I hope it's not overshadowing my mic. Hey, but I trust this mic to cover all the sound. How do I go for this event? Oh Lord. Okay. Hopefully it stops anytime soon. So yeah, I was talking about bridesmaid, right? For me, I knew that bridesmaid, the energy your bridesmaid gives you determines a whole lot in the whole wedding, your wedding day. The kind of energy they have and their present, them being present with you. And I just really wanted people that are not only happy for me, but they are present, their mind is present, their body is present, they are fine already. Everybody wants a fine bridesmaid, but you must get people whose energy matches your own. And when I was choosing my bridesmaid, I had the option of choosing my friends, my age mates, right? But I did not do that. I did not do that because my friends could probably have other things they want to do that day. Like maybe they also have guests they bring to my wedding, their bobo is there, or they are this one, or they, and then maybe I also even need them to run errands and make sure every other person is fine. So I did not exactly use my age mate, my friend. I used mostly younger people who were mostly either mentees or sisters. Those are the people I selected as bridesmaid. People who I met as mentees or look up to me, or friends or sisters. Those are the people that made up my bridesmaids. So they were younger people, sister people. I think, yeah, that kind of vibe, because I just really didn't want to cage my friends in that way, because I know my friends want to be all over. In fact, sometimes your friends even want to do ashrabi rather than do bridesmaid. And even my chief bridesmaid, making the decision, I had to use my sister, although not biological, but I mean my family friend, younger of course, but I was just really comfortable because I could easily say, oh, I need this. When I sneeze, they already know that they have to be there for me, unlike friends that can get carried away in the process. So those are the people I use as my bridesmaid, and I was willing to spend for them. I had gift packages for them, even though the money I asked them to contribute, because most of them were, had other things we were doing at the time, was not even up to the money they needed for their dresses and all the things they needed. But I was willing to put my money into it. And some of the things that they use, like the robe I got for them, the flip flop, their bouquet, I also source them online. If you need the vendor, I can show you a picture, but if you need a vendor, I can also show you the vendor. I sourced them online, so they were delivered, and I found deals as well in the process. So there were deals on Instagram whereby you can buy set of customized robe, customized flip flop, bouquet, earrings. What else came with that package? It was kind of like a package, and it was like package for six, or package for seven. So it comes at a subsidized rate. So they do all of that package for you, and then you just hand it over to your bridesmaid. The only thing I had to do by myself was the address, because the same stylist that fixed most of my dresses made the address also, and we also made it early enough. I packaged it to them. They tested it. People who needed to adjust a little, because they only sent in their measurements. we also had that done early enough. So yeah, I catered for their hotel room. We're able to just manage the best way we could. So everyone was with me also a day before. So that's for bridesmaid. So now for the styling, the D-Day came, and it was just about effecting. But before the D-Day, I had planned most of the things I needed to do in line with the wedding itself. But when the D-Day, before the D-Day came close, I had to hand everything over to an event planner. So I was just downloaded everything I had done so far, what she needed to take care of, who she needed to follow up on, because we had other vendors, the event decorator, the lighting, the camera guy, the red carpet guys, every other thing we needed to take care of. We had vendors for them. I just handed them over to the event planner for follow up. Another thing that people take for granted during their wedding ceremony is their MC. For me, because I'm in the event business, I knew that the MC is like a major part of your event, and your MC has to also be present and be able to carry your event. And I thought long and wide for who was going to be my MC, because I had so many friends who are into the business. But I prayerfully made the decision, and I'm thankful to this day that that was the person I chose. So Ashiri Comedy, Popular Ashiri Comedy, was the MC I approached. Although before that time I had met him maybe once or twice, and then we got talking, and I just reached out to him and I told him I wanted him to MC my wedding. And it was nice enough, we had a good deal, and I was just really happy. He did a great job as well. But this rain, guys, I hope you can hear me. Hey, and that was it about the wedding MC. Another thing that people take for granted is the DJ as well as the live band. Guys, do not take this for granted, because they are also a huge part of your wedding ceremony. For my DJ, because I was working in a radio station at the time, I was able to, God, I'm shouting, guys. I hope this rain is not disturbing. Oh my God. So because I was in the radio station at the time, I had a DJ, in studio DJ. So I already spoke with him. We had the deal. And then another thing I did not joke with is my wedding playlist. You guys, I arranged my wedding playlist. I showed my husband the playlist. I had songs that I've always dreamt of to be played at my wedding. So I didn't joke with the wedding playlist at all. I had the song for Dance with My Mother and my father. He had the song We Dance with His Mother. Our first dance song was already cute. Another thing that could happen at a wedding ceremony that could actually also stress you is the fight between DJ and live band. Guys, I had a vendors meeting with all of them. I told band when they were going to play. I told DJ when they were going to play. For our wedding entrance, we wanted the band. The band knew they were going to play. For the first dance and all the other dance with father and mother, we wanted DJ. We told DJ was going to play. The band will return after our first dance. At some point when people join us, DJ knew he was going to stop. So we already had the proper arrangement. I did not take anything lightly at all, because trust me, these are little things that can dampen your mood when you start seeing DJ and band are fighting. Why? So we had that preparation, and then the band knew when to stop after everything for DJ to play for what was like a brief after party for us. And we had so much fun. We enjoyed every bit of it. Thankfully, my stylist understood the assignment. Even though she was heavily pregnant, she stood by me all through to help with the changing and all those things. My makeup artist was there with me all through. So I just really had blessed people around me. So remember, do not choose vendors based on sentiment. Of course, choose people that are good, but choose people that you can also be able to tell your mind and tell them what you want, okay? Because trust me, how everybody work together at the end of the day determine a lot in the entire output for the wedding preparation. Yeah, so basically that's everything I can remember right now. Security is also key. We had the bouncing, we had an agency for that handled our security. What else am I forgetting that made up the big day? Timing. Timing is important. If there's one thing I did not joke with, because my father would always tell me, please don't put me to shame. Redeem, you know how they are. If you are not there on time, they will continue the wedding ceremony. Please, my father, I made sure I got to the wedding at about 10:30, and the service was going to start at 11. I woke up early enough, hurried everyone I was supposed to hurry, Timing is very, very important. Another thing you should not joke with is transportation for the people that matter, like your bridesmaid. You don't leave them hanging. Make sure there's car for them to move them to places. Now, another thing you should not joke with is your ring. So because in Redeem we do not exchange rings in church, they just bless the ring. After the joining, we now wear the ring. It was funny that our ring was missing. Yes, you guys heard that right. Our ring was missing. Now, we were covered because of the redeemed doctrine, because we are not exchanging ring. If it was a church where they would say, oh, can we have the ring? Trust me, it would have been chaotic, because they did not find our ring until almost after we had done the joining. We were dancing. If you understand redeem pattern, after you sign the marriage register, then you guys would dance back, and then you'll be declared husband and wife. That was when they found our ring. Meanwhile, for other places where they use ring as joining, they would have requested for the ring before. Our ring was lost because we gave our ring to a friend who had so much he was doing, and he forgot the ring somewhere. But thankfully, it was found, and then the dance that ensued after the ring was found was crazy, because everyone was now happy that the ring had been found. So these are some little things that you should not joke with in the course of planning your wedding, because trust me, it all comes together. Again, I've said a couple of things. Starting early is very important. Setting timeline is very important. For all the vendors, you must be able to set timelines. Make sure that the vendors you're not getting them based on sentiment. Make sure that they are people that are willing to serve, and they understand the importance of the occasion to you. Be prayerful also, because all of this coming together nicely is actually dependent on how God, come through for you. Because as much as you have all the money to throw around to plan, the God factor is very key as well. For us, I prayed a lot. One of the things that even dampened my mood initially was that it started raining on the morning of our wedding. Now it's raining as I speak to you. It rained from the morning of our wedding at about 9 or 10 till about 12 or 1 while we're leaving the church. So some people later tested me. We could not come. We are sorry. The rain. It's all good. We had a good day. It all was still full. Okay. So yes, another thing is weather. I thought, for me, when we chose September, I did because I felt, oh, August break, there will not be rain after August break. But hey, this September, you guys know it's been raining almost every day. The same thing it's doing right now. It's currently raining. That was the same way we had rain on that day. So God factor is key in all of this. You need to also always check in with your parents, with your siblings, everyone that has a role to play on your big day. You need to also check in on them to be sure that everyone is doing what they are supposed to do. So basically, this was how everything went down for me. Just sharing a bit of experiences and some of the things, that tricks I used here and there to put up what I had as my big day, which is one of my dream ever, because I enjoyed every bit of it. So yes, guys, I thought to share this with you. I'll be sharing a couple of other tips subsequently, but if this is helpful to you, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'll be definitely glad to hear from you or read from you if this is helpful to you. Remember, just calm down. It's nothing. Don't be anxious. I was very anxious. I was very, very anxious. I screamed, I cried. I was angry with my husband at some point, but believe me, it will pass. Just make sure that in everything you guys are friends. You guys talk about how you feel, because the I won't say hormone, because hormone is for pregnant women, but there'll be so many things happening in your system at the same time, and you guys need to consistently talk about it so that you know where your edge is at a particular time. But for female, it's okay to worry, but don't over worry. Just make sure that you are doing your preparation the right way, and everything would fall in place. So yes, if this is helpful, like I said, let me know in the comment section down below. That's all I can take for now. This video is so long, but I'll come back with a part 2 to share some other tips with you in another video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Goodbye.